Drizzle is a new TypeScript ORM that's taking the JavaScript world by storm. It's pretty lightweight and a thin layer of TypeScript on top of SQL and is edge ready. And it practically has everything you would need in order to build a robust database layer. For example, it supports introspection, generates migrations from schema, makes type inference easy from the schema, it supports database transactions, and you can make all sorts of SQL operations, which is practically most of the things that I need from an ORM. It looks really good on papers, but I am someone who likes to play around with the code base just to see how it really feels. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to build a small backend with Supabase as a database and Drizzle as a TypeScript ORM on top of Supabase. So for the purpose of the tutorial, you need to have an account with Supabase and it is free for individual use. Supabase is database built on top of Postgres and it's literally just Postgres. If you don't like it, you can easily migrate away from Supabase to any other Postgres database. When I was building this small prototype, I encountered an issue and I posted it on Twitter, and one person from the team, his name is Andrew Sherman, he reached out to me and helped me solve an issue that I was facing at that point in time. Props to the team for doing that. That being said, let's get straight into the code. If you're not able to follow the entire code, don't be concerned. I have all the code in a GitHub repo. You can check out the description for the link and you can go take a look at the repo and play around with it. Let's start our project by building a simple Express TypeScript starter. Now that we have our Node.js npm app ready, let's go take a look into installing all our dev dependencies. Our dev dependencies include types for Express, Node, TSX, and also TypeScript, and also the Drizzle kit. And then let's go ahead and install our dependencies. That is .env, Drizzle-orm, Express, and Postgres. I've also updated Drizzle-orm and the kit later because of the fact that it didn't really work for me. So I had to switch to the version 0.18.1 for kit and 0.26 for Drizzle-orm. Now let's go ahead and create our index.ts file, bootstrap our simple Express project and see if that works. And let's see if that works. I'm going to run npm run dev and check if it works. Yeah, it's working as expected. Right before we go to the next step, you need to have an account with supabase.com and also make your test project. Once you've made your Supabase account and a test project, you have to go inside the settings of your database and get your connection string from your database. Once you have the connection string, you can come back to your TypeScript project and make a .env file at the root and copy the connection string of your database. Now that we have our connection string from our database, what we're going to do is we're going to introspect our database. Introspection downloads the DDO from our database and also generates the schema for that DDO. We can use a schema and the DDO for the further migrations if we are trying to integrate the Drizzle-orm with an existing database. We're going to introspect the DB, so for that purpose, I've just made a dummy table. We just ran the introspection command and it seems to be working as expected. And the command is introspect pg with the Drizzle kit. It seems that it has pulled some information from my existing database. It's also generated a schema.ts for the DDO. We're not working with an existing DB, rather we are making a new database and we are starting from scratch. So that is the reason why I will delete the table and also the generated folder. So first what we're going to do is we're going to build a schema, and after we build a schema, we're going to generate the migrations for that schema, and then later we will run the migration on the database in order to create the tables. I've just come to the documentation of the ORM, and here you can see that we have an interesting schema that is countries and cities. As the name implies, a country can have multiple cities and a city belongs to one country. So there is one-to-many relationship in this regard. Then we would go ahead and add the generate command from the Drizzle kit and run the generate command. Okay, now that we have our migrations ready, we need to somehow run this migration in order to bring structure to our database. So for that, we first need to create a database client. Once our database client is ready under db.ts, we will go ahead and make another file called migrate.ts. We would import the db client and we will call the migrate method from the Drizzle-orm. Now that our migrate.ts file is ready, let's run the migrations. I'm gonna go ahead and add another command called npm run migrate. That is, it runs this specific file using the TS6 CLI. Cool, it says that it's migrated. Let's go ahead and check out our database. We have made 2 new tables, that is cities and countries. So our migration is successful. Let's go ahead and infer the types from our schema and export it so that we can use it for type definitions in our app. Okay, now that our tables are migrated, let's go ahead and build our queries.ts file. So we have get all cities, we have get all countries queries. So these are select queries from the cities and the countries table. And then we have insert city, and this is an insert query, and then we will insert an array of values inside the cities table. And on the same lines, we would have another query for insert country, where we would insert array of countries in the countries table. When we made the schema for the cities, it also had a country ID as part of the database's foreign key constraint. So you would have to specify the country ID because it should not be null. So in order to make sure that the country ID exists, first we have to populate the countries table and then we populate the cities table. First we run insert countries and then we run insert cities. You can see that in Supabase, the data is being populated. Now we're gonna do select queries to see if we can run select queries on our database. Okay, yes, that seems to be working for cities and also for the countries. Now let's go ahead and do something a bit more advanced. As you can see in the documentation, we are trying to implement something called as relational queries. They run on the application level. So even if your schema doesn't really have a foreign key constraint, it will still work on the application level. Let me go ahead and add countries relations and also cities relations. Countries relations has many cities and cities relations has one country. We would run the npm run generate command to see if this change is causing any changes in our schema itself. As you can see that there is no changes in the schema and there is nothing to migrate because everything is on the application level and it's not on the database level. Now we can try to run relational queries on top of our database. We can run find many with cities true for the countries and also country true for the cities. Let's see if this query works as expected. I'm gonna wire this query onto my express routes with new routes called countries with cities and cities with country. The first query is working as expected. The countries have got multiple cities as part of the data. We would run the same thing for the cities with country. So this all happened on the application level and not from the database level. That marks the end of this video. On top of what we talked about, this ORM also supports other features like transactions, joins, views, etc, etc. Just please go take a look at the documentation. It looks really good. You would get more information there. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe for more, and I will talk to you soon.